All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today, I'm uh, I'm going to hand it over to Tom Becker and Jennifer Orozco from Dual. They're going to be our presenters today. Now, after this initial presentation, we're going to do a walkthrough on how to submit to Dual, how to go through the appointment process, just kind of everything you need to know to get started today. So, without further ado, Tom, if you want to get us started, I'll walk you through. Just let me know when you need me to flip a page for you.
Okay, so let me start. Thanks, David, for that intro. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us on today's webinar, where we're going to introduce our private, primary, and our excess flood underwriting programs. My name again is Tom Becker. I'm the Director of Business Development for Dual North America, and we'll move on to the next slide. So just a quick overview of who we are at Dual. Dual North America is a leading specialty program administrator offering specialized property and casualty underwriting products. We have 25 office locations throughout the U.S. We currently have over 1,000 team members supporting 35 specialized underwriting programs. And last year we produced over $1 billion in gross written premium. And why Dual for flood? Number one, we're one of the top 20 U.S. MGAs, as you can see here, with over $1 billion in gross written premium for 2024. We have a very experienced underwriting team. We've been a flood cover holder for various Lloyd's facilities for over 30 years. Our underwriting team and our IT team has extensive knowledge with all types of data reporting, so that we can better understand and evaluate the flood risk. We have great capacity and scalability with 3 different carrier support partners for our programs. Technology, our state-of-the-art flood web rater is what we're going to demo here in a little bit. This work is attached now with our new partner at Appulate. This will help simplify not only the application, but you can submit, bind, and actually produce the policy online. As you can see here, we also offer e-signature and e-payment options. We can file the surplus lines taxes for you if you do need us to do that, and we are licensed in all 50 states. Competitive commissions, we're going to be paying 14% commission on new business and 14% commission on renewal business. So with that, we can move to the next slide, Dave. So our primary flood program, we're going to talk about briefly. And this slide will kind of give you a good overview of what our program highlights are, our eligibility limits, deductibles, and some exclusions for the primary flood program. Our flood solution is a nationwide non-admitted program. We have support from 2 Lloyd's of London programs and also domestically from Berkshire Hathaway. So we have 3 different options available once that you log in and submit a risk. We can consider all types of properties, just like the NFIP, the National Flood Insurance Program. And by the way, our policy wording is accepted by all the mortgage lenders, so we are lender compliant when it comes to flood policy wording. So we can write residential structures, commercial buildings, multifamily apartments, and condos as well. From a limit perspective, we can write up to $2 million in coverage, $1 flood coverage, which is a combined building and contents limit. We do offer business interruption loss of rents limit up to $500,000. We have additional living expense of up to $5,000. Replacement cost adjustment is available under the NFIP program. Most everything is on an actual cash value claims adjustment process, where our programs have the replacement cost adjustment option. We do have a minimum premium of $500 on residential and commercial properties. We have flexible deductibles, which range from $1,000 up to $50,000. Our waiting period is a little bit different from the NFIP program. The NFIP has a 30-day waiting period for first-time flood purchases without a loan transaction. So if you do have a mortgage, home equity loan, or refinance, obviously there's no waiting period from the NFIP as there is on our programs, but the NFIP does have a 30-day wait for purchases of flood insurance where there's no mortgage transaction. So we avoid that in our program. We do offer coverage in all of the available flood zones. So your A and B, which is your special or high risk areas, and then the low risk B, C, X, and D. We also offer coverages in those locations. Excuse me. We can quote properties that are located in non-participating communities and also structures that are located in the coastal barrier areas. So these are areas where the NFIP does not offer any primary coverage. We do write quite a bit of that through our Lloyd's facilities, those types of risk. From an exclusion, any risks that are located in the emergency, suspended, or probationary phases under the NFIP program, these would be excluded. Grandfathered zones, they've all kind of gone away. And I think we can move to the next slide, Dave. Okay, yeah, we're getting ready for excess. We also exclude perishable goods. We have properties built on stilts over water, as well as anything that's had multiple flood losses. So that's a quick summary of our primary program. And as this slide indicates, we're going to talk a little bit about our excess program. Once again, this is a non-admitted nationwide program with support from our Lloyd's programs. And again, we consider the same properties we do on the primary residential dwellings, commercial apartments, multifamily, as well as the condos. Now here the limit's a little bit different. So we can write up to 15 million in coverage, which is a combined building and contents limit. And if we need to get more, that's obviously we can do that. We can go to our Lloyd's facilities and obtain higher limits if needed. We also offer the business interruption loss of rents. Coverage is available. The minimum premium is the same at $500. From a standpoint of coverage, there is no waiting period, just like the primary. And again, we do write in all the various flood zones. We do have the replacement cost adjustment available. The COBRA and non-participating community coverage is still there as well. One of the things that we can do if you have multiple structures, whether it be a large homeowners association where you have NFIP policies, or if you have a commercial customer that has multiple locations that have flood insurance, we can combine those into one master schedule. So that's a real benefit to the insured, so that they don't have to cut multiple checks, receive the NFIP policies. This is just one master policy. We also can offer blanket limits if you have a program where you may need 2 to 10 or 15 million in excess flood. We can also offer those. The exclusions are pretty much the very same that we would see on the primary flood. With that, we can move on to the next slide. And we think this is a pretty critical slide for us. It's one of the things we've been doing for many, many years is trying to educate brokers that it's very important not only to offer flood insurance on every location from a homeowner's perspective, but to also offer excess if the NFIP limits are less than the value of the home. So we encourage everyone to always consider excess flood. The NFIP limits are 250,000 residential, 500,000 commercial. As we mentioned, we can write up to 15 million excess of those limits, and it's a good practice to get into. And we have an example of a form here, just an example. I'm sure a lot of you have your own disclosure forms where you at least offer the coverage and document that you have. And it's really important. We feel this is one of the most important components to our flood program, is the ability to offer excess. and it will ultimately help the insured because it's going to properly insure that that residential structure or that commercial structure. And so this is a good example of that form. And by the way, you can quote just excess flood on our system. So if you do have NFIP or a primary policy from another insurance carrier, you can just go online, quote the excess, offer it, and hopefully it will bind for you. And now moving on, I think we're ready to let David take it back. Just some contact info for our team. And David, I'll let you jump in right now and kind of walk us through how your agents are able to access our program.
Sounds great. Thank you, Thomas. Also, I wanted to let everybody know, as you all noticed, you're all muted. There is a question section that you can ask any questions. Feel free to ask questions as we go through this presentation. The next part that I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to be able to check the questions. So as we go through, I'll periodically peek over and see where they're at. So if I don't answer it immediately, I'll be able to get to it quickly. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and minimize this. We're going to open up Appulate. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to just discuss how to get started inside Appulate. So we're going to start with basically just appulate.com for everybody. So when you first land here, if you know you have an account, that's great. You can quickly go into login. But if you've never had an Appulate account or just don't know, just simply click this login button here. You're going to be prompted for this. I recommend doing forget password. Believe it or not, most of you that have received this email today may already have an Appulate account. By just entering your forget password, put your email in, give it a few minutes to see if you receive a lost password. If you do, just follow the steps. But if you don't, it's really easy here. It's just go to sign up and then just follow. There's just a couple fields you need to enter and then you're off to moving. In my case, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Now, these credentials are also important because of what we're going to get started with here in just a minute. So I'm going to log in. And now I'm brought to this main screen. If you've never done any submissions before, you're going to just see kind of a blank screen here. Now, this tool is optional, but it will aid you in submissions for Dual as well as other partners on our platform. So you're going to want to download the software called Uplink, shown right here. Now, what this Uplink tool is it takes the Accord and it bridges the data into our system. So this is like an Accord reader, really. It's proprietary software that we've created. You need to have some very basic minimum standards: Windows 7, Mac OS 10, 11. Just really long time ago software. So you should have no trouble getting this. Just choose your AMS and then choose download Uplink driver for Windows or Mac. If you're on a Mac, it'll prompt you for Mac. Now, once you've downloaded this, you'll need to run it. If you use Outlook, it'll prompt you to close Outlook because there is an extension that is added to Outlook. Now, once you've had that installed, what will happen is when you open up an Accord, so we'll open up a 125, for example, here. So I've got this 125, for example. When I hit print, you're now going to be greeted with your normal printer as well as something called Appulate Uplink. Okay, this Uplink driver, like I said, when I hit print here, it's going to take this data and it's going to push it into Appulate for me. So just waiting for it to prompt me here. There it is. So it's going to ask me for my credentials, and I would hit send to bring this in. Now I'm going to do a personal lines today just to demonstrate the side of that. But here, this is going to do exactly what we're about to do manually. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Now, if you have an Accord 80, you can bridge that in. I just don't have an 80 available, so I can't for personal lines. So we're going to do it the manual way, just so everybody can see how to do that as well. So for the manual way, we're going to just simply hit create new insured. And this is almost identical to where we would have been brought previously with the Accord, but it would fill this in for us. So I'm going to choose personal lines, and then we're going to do Joe Test. We're going to create this insured. It says there's no policies or quotes yet for Joe Test. We just simply right up here, hit request new quote, and then we choose the line of business we want. In this case, we want personal flood. Choose our effective date. Now, if you notice, there are blanks down here, but there's no asterisks beside these. So they're not required to answer unless we want to. So we're going to, at this point, just hit create request. Now, as you can tell, we've got no information in here at all. But the good thing is Dual has already created a questionnaire, so we really don't need to focus on bringing in a whole bunch of data. And to access that, all we have to do is just go right over here to this button called Quote Request. From here, we're kind of at a main screen here. All we got to do is hit Find Markets. I hit this little plus button here, and it's already saying, hey, this market is available for you. So dual flood testing is what I'm going to use today so that I don't push this onto the production market, but you're going to use dual flood. Now, the advantage here is we're going to see in just a moment, this is what's called an instant quote. We're going to automatically get generated quotes without even needing an appointment. And we'll go into that here in just a second. But for you as a brand new user, you just simply hit Start Quote. And now these are questions that Dual has created for their questionnaire here. So as you notice, there's asterisk questions. So we'll just follow those down, put an address in here. Now the address, depending on, there's a lot of conditions of like structure and states. So it's their API has all this information already worked through it. So all I've got to do is enter an address here. There we go. And then no certificate, what's a building type? Just follow the standard questions. If you've ever done a flood before, you know kind of what's going on here. If not, just follow the prompts, really easy. Okay, wooden floor, foundation type, oops. Okay, and then we've got no, no, no. No, no, no. Joe at demo.com. Put in the mailing address. Okay, and then we'll just do personal contents. Okay, and then we got one question left here. It looks like, oh, we might have missed one up here. Where did we mess up here? Oh, there we go, construction type, frame. We got one left. Choose our deductible. Let's go 5,000. Now at this point, you've answered all the questions. There's no more required questions needed. We can hit request quote. Now, one thing I do want to mention as well is if you just wanted to send those questions over to your insured, you could hit this ask insured button and you could simply create an email automatically where it creates a link for the insured to click on those questions and to get them loaded right back in the system. Super easy there too. We're going to go ahead and hit request quote. Now, I do want to tell everybody here, when you're using it for Dual, you got to give it a few minutes. And the reason why is we're going to see in a moment here, Dual doesn't give us just one quote back. They give us multiple quotes back based upon different limits and that are automatically decided on their end. So you're going to get I think we're going to see about 5 different quotes. So we got to give it a minute here to push through. And I say this so that you guys don't close this out. As you notice here, it says don't close this tab. It's intended to take a little extra longer with this one, but we'll see all the fruits of our labor here in just a moment. Still waiting. Still waiting. There we go. All right, now as you guys notice, we've got quotes from Lloyd's, we got quotes from Berkshire Hathaway. Now, if we read the wording here, so here's one for building limits 250, contents 50. Looks like we've got contents 5K deductible. I think that's deductible 0. So as you can see, there's different quotes in here in different values. Now, this is what Dual offers you without an appointment, right? You can access this, you can get the quote, you can go, okay, great, I want to move forward with this. Well, in order to move forward, you're going to need to get appointed. So what'll happen is I've already got this, the appointment established for my test account, but when you click this link right here, this finish submission, you're going to get prompted with a screen prompt that's going to have a link on it. You're going to need to click that link, go into that, and fill out the appointment process paperwork. It's very standard. It's very easy, everyone. Their Dual is asking very reasonable appointment minimums, so it's nothing that anybody should have difficulty obtaining. But go ahead and hit finish submission, and then you'll be basically brought to their website. So that's what I'm doing right now. So it's going to deep link me into their website here. And then from here, I basically just log into Dual. Okay, sign in. And from here, and of course you have to have the appointment in order to get into this, right? So from here, now you've basically just got multiple screens. You're just going to follow through and just hit continue and follow through your quote. You're going to be able to pay. You're going to be able to process this full quote all the way through binding right on their platform from here forward. So what we're essentially doing is Appulate is collecting the data, presenting you with quotes in an easy fashion to sort through, and then redirecting you to their website to finish it. Does anybody have any questions on this process? I hope I went through it quick, not too quickly. No questions. Okay. Any questions about, oh, here we go. What are the commitment needed? Thomas, do you know much about your appointment process, the details?
Yeah, it's very simple. The appointment process really just includes a W-9, a tax ID, your property casualty license information, some E&O, and then from a commitment end, there's no commit. There are no premium levels. There's no limit to. We accept one policy up to thousands. It doesn't matter to us. So no revenue commitment.
There's also a producer agreement that needs to be completed.
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard stuff. Yeah. Any other questions? Does anybody have any questions about program or excess or any good underwriting questions that we want to try to knock out while we're here? What is the commission scale? I think we did cover that earlier, but Thomas, if you want to go at it again.
Yeah, sure. It's right now, and we do have some tiered level commission based upon volume, but for everybody just starting out on the Appulate program, we're paying 14%. We'll be filing the taxes, so we pay 14% on new business and 14% on renewal.
I do have Peiling got a question. Good afternoon. For commercial tenant, improved and betterment limit should include under building or content limits?
The improvements and betterments are going to, ours are both a combined building. The NFIP offers 30,000, I believe, in improvements and betterments, and ours are combined into the total limit, whether it be 2 million on the primary and 15 million on the excess. So it would be just built into a combined building and contents limit.
Great. I've got another question. I got James here. Do I need a surplus lines license to sell this program?
You do not. No, only if you're filing the taxes. And we do have obviously some retailers have maybe a surplus lines tax in the state they reside in. And that's great. If they want to go ahead and file the taxes, they can. If you do not have that, that's fine. We can file the taxes. You do not need a surplus lines license to do that.
Great. Okay. Joseph has a couple questions here. We are a retail agent in Florida. Do we get appointed or use a broker, Amwins, RT, specialty, etc.?
No, you can come direct to us. Obviously, if you have those relationships, we work quite a bit with those firms you mentioned, but for an appointment in Florida, it just requires the completed appointment kit that we mentioned earlier, W-9, tax ID, E&O, and an agreement that needs to be executed. That's all you need, and then you don't need to have a wholesaler in that transaction. You will be coming direct to us, so think of us as a direct carrier.
Perfect, thank you. Joseph has a second follow-up question. Billing and payments, are all agency bill or prepaid?
We do agency bill for the most part, but since we have this payment online option, that's another feature. What I'll do is, David, I will get information on that because it's probably good to have that with the program on how that works. if you're going to do e-pay.
Yeah, that's great.
But agency build is the majority of what we do.
All right. Do we have any more questions today? These are great ones, everybody. Thank you for participating.
Yeah, and please feel free if any other questions pop up. I think we have our contact info there. You can always call us, send us an email. We have an excellent service team. The team is fantastic at responding quickly. We have manual underwriters as well as our automated system that you just witnessed. So if things don't quite fit into the online, it gets pushed to our manual team who are excellent, and they're able to kind of use their underwriting expertise to make sure that we can place that business. So we're here to help you. We appreciate the business, and anything we can do, we're always here. We're only a phone call or an email away.
Great. Joseph has another question here. In Florida, do you have closed zip codes, or are all locations modeled?
Well, there are some of the carriers that do have, like if you're in Florida, the west coast of Florida is a bit tight at the moment. We are opening up some of the zip codes that were previously closed after Hurricane Ian. I would say that just in Florida, just submit it, because the three, maybe the two Lloyd's carriers may not have an appetite for a particular zip, but the Berkshire Hathaway may have that. So just go in and plug in the address. That's all you really need to do. Answer a couple of those questions that David displayed, and then you'll see if we can offer any terms on that. But we are open in Florida. There are just some restrictions in certain locations. I would say that West Coast is probably the most restrictive at the moment, but we are writing in various Fort Myers and Tampa and Clearwater and places like that. Central Florida is fine. East Coast is fine. We have no real restrictions there.
Joseph has another question. No EC required or optional?
I would say it's not required, obviously, to fill out, but if you have an EC, Joseph, it's always a good thing to upload that or to, email that to the underwriter you're working with, because the EC is always helpful, because it's so exact, right? When you're talking about base flood elevation and the top of the bottom floor, these are critical flood underwriting components. And if you have the EC, great, because it will help lower the premium for sure. If not, that's okay as well.
Yeah, and to add on that, there's also a question on that questionnaire of whether or not you had a certificate, and you had to answer yes or no. We got another one. Wes, aloha, I'm an agent from Hawaii. How are claims handled? Do you outsource your claims to a local adjusting firm?
The way we handle it, depending upon if it's primary or excess, but typically we have a TPA that we work through. Each of the syndicates have their own claims adjusting in London. Berkshire has their own, and we typically work with a TPA that assigns a local adjuster, especially in Hawaii, obviously. I mean, I'd love to go out and do my own adjusting on that, but we would coordinate the claims, and then the adjuster would be assigned by the TPA that we utilize.
Hopefully that answers your question there, Wes. If you have a follow-up, feel free to go and ask. These are great questions, everybody. Thank you for helping out here. All right, Wes is happy with that answer. Thank you, Wes. Joseph, another question. I assume you're taking AORs on existing policies?
Yes, we are.
All right, that was an easy question. All right, we're going to give it one more minute for everybody to ask your final questions here, and then we're going to start wrapping this up for today. Give everybody some time back for the day. So please ask any final questions that you may have of us, or we're going to end the meeting for today. All right, I'm seeing lots of people dropping off. So it looks like, oh, here we go. Contacts at dual screen again. Sure, yeah, let me share that for you. There you are. You're welcome, Joseph. And also, like I said, the dual team will be reaching out to all of you. I did talk to them. We're gonna work on getting this uploaded to YouTube, so you guys will all have access to view this video again. So in case you maybe didn't write down some of the information you hope to have done, we're gonna give you guys all a recording of this, as well as the dual team will be reaching out to you individually to see if you have any additional questions. Oh, James Heimbecker asked, Tom, can we talk about this Eagles Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, that will take a good hour that we can gloat on that.
All right,
I
everybody,
appreciate that.
We're going to go and end for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. We really do appreciate your time. And Tom and Jennifer, it was a pleasure working with you guys today.
Same here, David. Thank you all for joining. We really appreciate it. And feel free to contact us if you need any additional help.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, David.